This day 636 for the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi. Today's Arukh HaShulchan Yomi is sponsored by the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi's founder, Rabbi Micha Berger, my shutaf in this venture. Covered Rabbi Michael Epstein, the author of the Arukh HaShulchan's Yortzeit, in honor and in thanks to myself and the entire Arukh HaShulchan Yomi Chevra who are keeping his Torah alive. Schus Yogein Aleinu. We should add that in Arukh Chaim, 5, 6, 8, 13, that's Tuf Kuf Samech Ches Yud Gimel, which we haven't got to yet. It is clear that the Arukh HaShulchan would have wanted us to observe his Yortzeit in Adar Rishon, and this is, of course, the Adar Rishon when we are doing this shiur. It is Chaf Aleph Adar Rishon Tafshin Pei Beis. Today we are doing. Oh, if you'd like to sponsor an upcoming shiur more of the Arukh HaShulchan Yomi, please contact me directly. Be greatly appreciated. Today we are doing Siman Shin Ayin Sif Tes, Siman Shin Ayin Aleph Sif Dalet. Yutes. Arukh Ad Lamed Yom. A guest who's spending up to 30 days in the one of the house in the Chotzer, and also Batim Ba'amnei Chotzer. He does an aser on the Batim and the people of the Chotzer. Yosim Shoshim Yom, more than 30 days. Mikra Miyosh Ve'Chotzer. He's considered to be already a resident of the Chotzer. V'Yom Yisrach B'Chotzer. Therefore, somebody who is a guest in the Chotzer, even in his own house. He's not there on a semi-permanent basis for 30 years. If he's there for 30 days or less, Eino Oser al Ba'abais doesn't answer his host or the other members of the Chotzer. Vuvei Mutar Metata Ben Beis on the Chotzer, Ben Beis Chotzer, and they can carry from their house in the Chotzer and from his house in the Chotzer, or based on his house, their house, and based on their house, his house. Let's see, which has a general air for the entire city. Even their guests who come and spend more than 30 days there, doesn't require an Eruv, an update in the Eruv. Delay based in Masna Leim, the initial Eruv takes into account all future comers. Mr. Bruce says interesting. He says, nevertheless, in a place where there are fairs, or they say conventions, that guests come and spend more than 30 days there, the Kehillah, those places, the Kehillah, when they make the air, we should specify explicitly that it's also for the people who come for those extended conventions or fairs. That which guest does not ask if he's only there up to 30 days. That's when there's a permanent host to whom the place where the guest is staying, bread and breakfast, Airbnb, whatever it is, belongs to him. That he bought it or rented it. Even the many guests, they don't forbid on him or on each other because he's the Babas, lives in the yard, and this is his house, which he gives to guests. If there is no Babais present, such the Babas lives in another Chatzar altogether. The guests do answer each other. This is the halacha of 5 people, 5 groups who spend Shabbos in the large hall, which is part, which you explained earlier. They forbid each other miyad, immediately, as long as they all have their own rooms, special in which they eat. They eat all in the same room, that's not a problem. If there's a non-Jew in the Chotzer, you have to rent his rishus out from him. A non-Jewish guest, is not a problem until 30 days. These barbers shouldn't pay dollars. It's going to be clarified later on. He brings that bracket. So Ever Ozer Harichlach Local Shulchan Aruch say the Reach Oser Miyara Babais Ein Sham Vano Ein Lora El Dira Shulchan Aruch Kei Mori Lamaaseh. But also was a guest asks immediately. We do not hold that way. We go like the Shulchan Aruch Lamahaloch Lamaisa. What he doesn't mention here, by the way, is Tfisas Yad. Sakra Moshe Feinstein, that if there's a Babais who has Tfisas Yad in all the houses, so then he can make of course, he mentioned previously, he can make an heir for all of them. The question is what happens when the Babais lives elsewhere, like this case, where that's already Machlekes HaPoskim, if I recall correctly. Chav Aleph, Asar Batim Zel Livnim Mizeh. If you have 10 houses, one inside to the other, it's like a railroad flat. Kulam over Mizel Zeh, and they all pass from one to each other. There's their chitzon to go out the outer one, lechatzer lechot to the yard or to the street. Shnayim apnimimvad tzrichim litein be'eruv. Only the two innermost houses have to give an eruv. The sharp touring is exempt. Shechashuvim kulam b'gavei shar, they're obviously like a gatehouse, as gatehouses. The inner two. Attack for Rabbi Seafood Base. We'll explain this in Seafood Base. Shin Ein Aleph. She'elchem mimnei achatzer elchem me'achatzer or mace. When somebody left the chatzer or died. Aleph. Dira b'lo bayim la'ashma dira. A dwelling place which does not have an owner present and accounted for is not considered to be a dwelling place. Ve'eno says somebody chatzer does not forbid the people in the chatzer and does not be including eruv. Therefore, a member of the Chatzer who left his house and went to another yard, and then leave anybody in his house, doesn't forbid on them. Doesn't forbid them mention of Shabbos or Erev Shabbos, doesn't matter if he went on Shabbos or before Shabbos. Mishnah argues. Mishnah says he has to have left before Shabbos. Once he left, if he left on Shabbos, meaning Ben Hashmashos, he was there, so then actually he's considered to be present for that Shabbos and needed to have been included in an Eruv. Arukh HaShulchan, however, says there's nafkamina ben Erev Shabbos. There is an image in Erev Shabbos. Shabbos Erev Shabbos k'sholach. Erev Shabbos if he left, I feel chazer b'Shabbos. And also even if he comes back on Shabbos, it doesn't forbid. There's shloya beisak nachnosas Shabbos because he wasn't present when Shabbos came in. Shuzman kimayir when the Erev takes effect. Arukh HaShulchan b'Shabbos chazer b'Shabbos, and he went on Shabbos, came back on Shabbos, then also then he forbids shloya beisak Shabbos because he was present when Shabbos began. Beis Yosef writes, Yisrael ben Chatzar zu shol Chashbos Chatzar Acheres. Yisrael in this Chatzar went to spend Shabbos in another Chatzar. Ve'ein dat l'chzor b'Shabbos, doesn't have in mind to come back on Shabbos. Achar kach nimach b'Shabbos, and then he changed his mind on Shabbos. Chazar and came back. Ein oser, does not forbid this yard. Akar l'shono zehu mi b'al yom. That's if he left before Shabbos. Came shleya basically the Shabbos since he wasn't in the yard when Shabbos began. Or meaning we say Shabbos hoyel v'hutra hutra. Since the Shabbos is permitted, it's permitted. If he had in mind, in fact, before Shabbos began to come back on Shabbos, that's how called that he left. It's like a person left his house for several hours. Archon is not living here. If that was the case, if he went to shul and went for mincha and Erev Shabbos, so then we wouldn't require to have it be part of the Erev, because when you came back, it's already Shabbos. Shalach b'Shabbos l'chazar, he goes on Shabbos, comes back. Asher shalach lo yadai to l'chzor, even though at the time he went, he didn't have in mind to come back. Nevertheless, shechazar, so when he comes back, he does ask the b'zel l'shayach l'mar ha'ol v'utra utra. Can't say that since it was mutter, it became mutter. She'ein zeh el b'knis the Shabbos. It's only when Shabbos begins. Shuzman kniyas erev, when the erev takes effect. The bracket says here, Vina oser bein oser. I'm not sure why he finally says this over here. Could have said this much earlier. Now would you say he asks them b'nei chatzer or doesn't ask them b'nei chatzer? Hanik shelo irei b'nei chatzer, so he didn't make an error with the b'nei chatzer. Or shen kan elohu, or there's only him, v'od echad, and another one person. The kshiyatz in the shtar rak echad, so that if he left, there's only one person left, then he'd start error, but therefore no error would be necessary. Base, I feel like chatzera asamachla, even went to the adjacent chatzer. We come makisiach and adjacent chatzer. But nevertheless, if he already uh, uh, does not have his heart set on the original chutzner, and he doesn't have a mind, or has his heart set on the second chutzner, he doesn't have a mind to come back on Shabbos. Doesn't forbid them. So if he goes to his daughter, Shalach Eitzel Beno, but he goes to his son, Oser. It's all, then he does still retain, still answers in the original chutzner. Bishum the Korban Davish Gosen Tiskoltin Imo B'Yoshel Beso. So often the daughter-in-law will get into a fight with him, and he's going to go back to his house. And I think that's probably maybe Lashon Saginor. And the daughter-in-law will get into a fight with her mother-in-law, and so the mother-in-law and the husband will leave the house in the middle of Shabbos. Okay. The Allah writes that if it was Mesiach Daita Befeirush, determined he's going to be also for Shabbos. So even in his son, even if his son's house, it doesn't answer. But if he said explicitly he's going to come back, then even his daughter's house he answers. Okay, the distinction between the son and daughter is in a generic case. For Rambam, that's what the Gemara says. Rambam Perek Dali Shemitah. Rambam does not bring this down to the end of He holds that this is not halacha. Biur Halacha disagrees. He says even the Rambam agrees to the Torah that if it's a generic case, it depends if he went to his son or his daughter. But the Rambam, according to HaShulchan, does not hold that distinction. The Omer Lo Mara El Al Mashi Yizkir, because whoever said the Gemara only was referring to the case that Tana brought down. No, when he went, which is the case where he went to his daughter because he doesn't normally go to his son, also because of his daughter-in-law. That's what it mentions daughter. In other words, so Kinta the Mishnah was this so Kimta because that is a commonplace occurrence, but not because the halacha is determined that. But if he went, he went. He went to his son's house, and that doesn't answer. As in brackets, Kavasa Magi Mishnah and Sham. Baby says to Levi, Shulchan Aruch, it's not brought down in the Rambam, where Meko doesn't matter, son, daughter. Gimel, Bamed morning when it's true, but Yisrael, it's a Jew left. But a non-Jew left. If you went to go spend Shabbos in a different city, so not good enough. He still asks them until they rent from him his jurisdiction, another word, authority. Okay, you get the his domain in the chutzner. That's if he went somewhere close. One day away from here, so you can get back. Nowadays, includes almost the entire globe. If he went to distance, he doesn't forbid. Even if he went a few days before Shabbos, it says, Shabbos, that he obviously has enough time to come before Shabbos back to his house. We're only concerned about Shabbos. If on Shabbos he can commence his trip and come back to his house. Obviously, it's only left before Shabbos. Shabbos ain't enough communicable. He went on Shabbos, makes no difference. No matter which way you look at it. If they rented for Erev Shabbos, they're mutar matiltu. They'll have to carry it. But if they didn't rent it from Erev Shabbos, they lo Erevu Erev Shabbos. And then their Erev was no good. I feel Erevu ain't Erevu and Klum. And Erev without the Shus is meaningless. Some say the Gam Kuti Dinok Israel, that non-Jew is also like a Jew. If he went to his neighbor in the city, the base of Minai might come back here to his house on Shabbos. And also doesn't forbid his house. So you can make an Erev Shabbos without being Socher Rishus from him. And he's Hashem. But if he changed his mind and he came back home, then Ares Oser is only Osers at that point. Biur brings many Rishonim hold that it's only Mutzar if he goes to another city. Rishonim is the name of the Taz that if non-Jew is accustomed to come out of his house, come back to his house on that day, it's also according to everybody. Here we're talking about a case where he has in mind to spend Shabbos elsewhere till after Shabbos is over. Okay. Back to Arukh HaShulchan. We don't say, well, if you left at the beginning of Shabbos, it's good enough. Came to Mitchilia, Loya Erev, Loya came called Shabbos, because the Erev was not suitable to last all Shabbos. Because it might come. So this Shabbos was never, retroactively, it was clear, never, I don't know, retroactively, from the beginning was never permitted. Because but as long as he has to come back, Erev Kosher, Erev is good. Rabbeinu Malachriya Kadei Azura, Mama Paskins this way. Yeshu Shemar, those say the Gam Bekuti, and also by a non-Jew, and beyond Erev, Bebir, it's clear, Shaloya, Daito, Shu, Shabbos. If it was clear that his intent was not to come back on Shabbos, and then he changed his mind, did he come back on me? We say, Hol Vutra Utra. So it's the beginning of Shabbos, it remains Mutter. And that which the Torah says he also sees if he comes back, Zel Bistoma. That's where he didn't have any specific intent to come back or not come back. It doesn't see the way. Basically, the because we don't take his intent into account. Okay, there's not brackets here, but it's not significant for us. Dal Kasa Torah Shulchan Sefer Gimel. If somebody from the marketplace had a house in the Chotzer Umes and he died, and he left his domain to one of the members of the Chotzer. He died before Shabbos began. The new guy is not forbid. Because the Eri makes his house also permits what he inherited. But if he died after dark, Oser, then it's forbidden to carry. Even though the person who inherited the house made an Eruv from before Shabbos with everybody else, anymore, it doesn't affect whoever's going to inherit later on Shabbos. What does it mean to say? This guy from the marketplace, who had a house in this chutzer, he ate in this house. Why is it called time from the marketplace? That to live permanently, only came with teeth. If he's a so since he is eating there, if he didn't make an error with them, he forbids them. So even though a member of the chutzer inherited him, there which he gave on which he said beside every Shabbos doesn't work for what's going to inherit on Shabbos. So double shlopa lolam. But the other fellow died before Shabbos began. Even though the person who inherits his domain already gave his participation into the Eruv. Nevertheless, when the time for Eruv to take effect arrives, Shabbos bein as much as this house is also included in his portion of the Eruv. But there was a guy from the marketplace. He never ate here. Therefore never forbade them. I feel Mesa Shabbos. He means on Shabbos. They know, sir. There's no problem. So Vucha since Shabbos was permitted at the beginning, it remains permitted. This is also true. One of the people of the Chotzer who didn't participate in the Eruv died. But we assume a person in the Chotzer already gave his Eruv. He came with him, and therefore he's always permitted. That's not necessarily true about a person in the marketplace. Is required to participate in Eruv. That's something he forgets to do. Because he's not primarily in this Chotzer. For this one, the Chamisha Shadorim Chotzer Echad. There are 5 people living in one Chotzer. 4 of them in Eruv. Echad Lo Erev. One guy did not participate in Eruv. Based on Shabbos, but he died on Shabbos. But they can carry from here on in. The Lord, we don't say Erev Lo Chabit is the Shabbos. We don't say, hey, the Eruv didn't take effect when supposed to when Shabbos came in. Nezeh Shalo Erev, because this guy didn't make the Eruv. Echachu B'Emtz Shabbos. So how can they take effect in the middle of Shabbos? They don't it's not that way. They have Chabit is the Shabbos. The Eruv takes effect on when Shabbos begins. Now, so Elo Arba Kidarim Yachad, and these 4 people become people who live in unison. Rag Yesh Echad Osolim, but there's another one guy who forbids them to carry. It's like an Aria Derviolo. It's like a lion crouching by the door. Came when Shemetz, once he dies, Batal Yisura. He's been removed. This has been removed. Why is there evidence for this? We're going to see that the person who didn't participate can be Mavato Rishus. So a new thing we haven't spoken about. The gate is domain to the others. Kamoshi's bar, Basim Chinpei is going to find out later on. Mamula Bita Rishus, if they didn't take effect, what Rishus doesn't work? How does it work? You can't invite Rishus to 4 people unless they're incorporated in Eruv. The must of the Eruv takes effect, as we have said.